video, I'm going to be sharing with you the 4 steps you need to take in order to find love after the narcissist. Side note, maybe you weren't in a relationship with a narcissist, but this is just for the ladies and men out there who have been in a cycle of constant toxic relationships and they can't seem to break this cycle, and they're ready to find a healthy, loving relationship with a genuine, kind and honest partner, but you just can't seem to attract that. All you attract is toxic people. I'm going to take you through these 4 steps, and I guarantee if you show commitment to these 4 steps, it doesn't even take much effort. I guarantee that you will find a loving, healthy relationship very soon. As always, I have included chapters within this video, so feel free to skip to the part that most interests you. But I will say for the 4 steps, it's important to do those steps in chronological order in order to get the best result. My love life used to resemble an absolute car crash. I went from an overt narcissist to a covert narcissist. In the end, my covert narcissist ex deceived me and was going off with prostitutes. And honestly, that was a huge rock bottom for me. And in that moment, I can remember I called up my cousin and I was crying hysterically on the phone, and I can remember saying the words, "How will I ever be able to trust someone again?" But I'm here to tell you it's really easy to trust someone again, because you know what? These toxic people, these narcissists, they give themselves away very, very quickly. They're not masters of deception. You can easily pick up on a person that cannot be trusted. They give themselves away in what they say, how they treat you, and their mannerisms. But the critical issue that we need to address is you. Are you desperate for love? Are you that desperate for somebody's love and attention that when the red flags come up, you're going to ignore the red flags and disrespect yourself and get yourself into that same toxic cycle again? The reason that you're desperate for love is because you are not giving yourself love. And that is what we're going to focus on in this video, because when you fill yourself up with love, that puts you in a really strong position to know exactly what you want from a man, to know exactly how you deserve to be treated, and you are in a strong position to wait it out until that man comes along. At the age of 32, I finally found a healthy relationship, the love of my life, and I'm still with him now, and I'm 35. We've been together for 2.5 years. And after all the crazy things that I went through with narcissists, side note, I did a video on my experience dating narcissists. If you click on the top of the screen now, you can watch that video. But yeah, after everything I've been through over this last few years with narcissists, I have learned a hell of a lot, and I have made some serious mistakes. And now I am certain I know the formula on how to break this toxic cycle of unhealthy relationships and how to find yourself a loving, genuine partner. So I'm going to summarize what I've learned these last few years, and I'm going to give it to you in 4 easy to follow steps. It is never too late to break these toxic cycles. I was in these toxic cycles for all my teens and all my 20s. And honestly, it got to the point where I felt absolutely hopeless. But I'm here to say, with the know-how, with the knowledge, and by following these 4 steps, you can break those toxic cycles at any stage of your life, whether it's in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. You can break those toxic cycles and find a healthy relationship and the love that you deserve. So let's get into it. The first step is to build your self-love. The reason that you're in this situation in the first place, and the reason that you keep attracting toxic person after toxic person, is because you're lacking self-love. The lack of self-love that you are showing yourself ignites this fire, and it ignites this desperation within you to find love externally. And this is how you find yourself in situations with toxic people who treat you like absolute trash. because you will literally settle for any crumbs of love and affection that they throw your way. The red flags come up, and because you're so desperate to just have someone in your life because you're unhappy with yourself, you will cling on to that person. When the red flags start showing up, because you don't have self-love and self-respect, you will not cut off that relationship. You'll make excuses up for that person's behavior. You'll minimize their behavior, and you will allow yourself to endure a relationship that brings you nothing but pain and suffering with someone who is incapable of meeting your needs. And when someone can't meet your needs, basic needs, when you're begging for the basics, that is what makes us so unhappy. When you have very minimal amounts of self-love, you give that away. And you give it away in the way that you talk about yourself, just conversations that you have and your opinions, and also your mannerisms and how you react in certain situations. And honestly, narcissists and toxic people in general, they are like a moth to a flame to people who don't have much self-love, because they know they can rock up into your life, show you a tiny bit of kindness, a little bit of sweetness until they get you hooked on that line. And then they start unleashing their true selves. The mask starts to drop. They start revealing their true selves. And this is very early on. This is within a matter of weeks, they'll start unleashing their true selves. But they know, they can sense that you don't have any boundaries. So what they'll do is they'll test you, and they'll start disrespecting you a little bit, and they'll push it and push it and push it and see how much they can get away with. So we need to get you to that place where you've filled yourself up with self-love. You respect yourself, you're caring for yourself, you're being super kind to yourself, and you strongly believe you deserve a partner who is going to respect you, be loyal to you, be honest with you, and bring you joy and peace in the relationship. Peace is the critical thing here. Your relationship should, for the most part, bring you peace. Okay, from time to time, you're going to have disagreements, but 90% of the time, you should be feeling calm and peaceful in your partner's presence. When you've built up your self-love and you respect yourself, you've got boundaries, that puts you in a position where when a toxic person comes along, the red flags start cropping up, you won't tolerate that behavior. You're not desperate for that love anymore because you show yourself affection, you show yourself kindness, you've created a life for yourself that you're really happy with. You're truly happy within yourself. So if someone comes along and they start causing you anxiety, they start disturbing your peace, they start disrespecting you, you will have the strength to cut that relationship off, because you'll be like, you know what, I'm not putting up with that. I don't deserve that. I don't need it. I'm going to wait it out for a guy or a girl who truly respects me, whether that takes weeks, months, years. And until then, I'm happy within myself. I'm really happy with who I am. I'm happy with my life. I've got my family, my friends around me, and I'm looking for a partner that will add to that. Basically, in the past, when I had very minimal amounts of self-love, I was looking for a savior. I was so unhappy within myself and with my life. I was looking for someone, a knight in shining armor, to come and sweep me off my feet and be the answer to all my problems. I was suffering with bad mental health. I had anxiety, I had depression, and I was pinning all my hopes on a man coming along and being the answer and solving all my problems. And it didn't work like that. When you've got that dynamic where you're relying on someone so desperately to make you happy, that never ever works. So we have got to address that dynamic and get you into a position where you're feeling super strong on your own and you're willing to wait it out until the right guy or girl comes along. I've done a whole video on the 7 steps that I took to build my self-love. To be honest, I used to roll my eyes when it came to self-love. When I was going through it in the past, when I had bad mental health and I had no self-love, I used to go online and I used to hear people say, oh, you need to learn to love yourself. And I just didn't know how. It's crazy now because it's so simple, but I didn't know how to love myself. But over these last 4 years, I've realized loving yourself is really simple steps taken every day to safeguard your well-being and your mental and physical health. So I explain all of this in that video. If you click at the tab on the top of the screen now, you can watch that video. But honestly, following those 7 steps of self-love has completely transformed my life. But for starters, in this video, I'm going to take you through 2 critical but easy steps you can start taking to start building up your self-love. So the first step is to review and reflect what is going on in your mind. If you have little self-love, it's because you are at the mercy of what is going on up here. What is your mind telling you every single day? What is that broken record in your mind? A negative broken record that keeps repeating itself every single day. What are you believing about yourself? Essentially, our thoughts will determine the reality that we experience in this life. And that includes what partner we will end up with. Your thoughts and what you choose to believe about yourself ultimately dictate the actions that you take every day. So it dictates what you say to people in conversations. It dictates how you put yourself out there and the decisions that you make in life. And those actions and behaviors will ultimately determine what you experience as your reality. So it is critical, in order to increase your self-love, we must focus on what's going on up here, because what's going on up here determines everything. So number 1, I want you to start reflecting on what thoughts you're having every day and writing those down. So you can write them down at the end of the day, or maybe just keep a little notepad with you and notice common thoughts that you're having about yourself every day and about life in general. Identify common themes, common topics, and identify the tone of your thoughts. Are they positive? Are they negative? Also, what do you believe to be true about yourself right now? And I need you to be really honest about this. This isn't something that I want you to rush 2 minutes at the end of the day, writing it down really fast. I want this to have your full focus and attention over the space of maybe 2 to 4 weeks. Every day, just write down thoughts that come into your head. Do you have thoughts that pop up that say, you're not good enough? You can't do that. You're stupid. You're ugly. You're not pretty enough. You're a failure. Are you constantly comparing yourself against other people and feeling really down about yourself? So don't just write about your thoughts. How are you feeling on a day-to-day basis? Maybe do a scale from 1 to 5. 5 is feeling super happy. Maybe 1 is feeling absolutely depressed. 3 is medium. Write down every day, give yourself a score how you're feeling every day. Also, at this stage, we're not just going to analyze your thoughts, we're going to assess how those thoughts are impacting the actions that you're taking every day. So, for example, maybe after a couple of weeks of analyzing your thoughts, maybe just focus on that for the first 2 to 4 weeks, just concentrate on your thoughts. And then once you've delved into that deeply, then start making links between what thoughts you're having on a daily basis and how that is impacting the actions that you're taking. So, for example, a pattern that I could see when I reflected on my thoughts and actions was that I'm having daily thoughts that, oh, I'm a bit stupid, I'm not intelligent enough. So how is that impacting my actions? Well, actually, I can identify I'm not speaking up at work. So in meetings, I've got ideas and I want to contribute, but I'm not speaking up. And that is because I believe that I'm stupid. I believe that people will laugh at me. I believe that what I've got to say isn't valuable. So try and identify these links between how the narrative in your head and the thoughts that you're having and what you're choosing to believe about yourself is impacting your actions. The next step of the review and reflection stage, I want you to categorize the thoughts and actions that you're taking into kind and unkind. So, on a day to day basis, how many unkind thoughts are you having? How many unkind actions are you taking? So, with unkind thoughts, it's pretty obvious. It's stuff like, I'm not good enough. Nothing ever works out for me. I'm behind in life. I'm weird. Stuff like that. But then for the unkind actions, this involves ways in which you are getting in your own way and holding yourself back, or maybe ways in which you're harming yourself. So, for example, you're feeling down, you're having anxious, negative thoughts, and then at the weekend, you have this urge to go out and get absolutely obliterated on alcohol. You go out and binge drink, you make really bad decisions. Maybe you go off with guys that you don't really know, who don't deserve you. You demonstrate embarrassing behavior and feel really bad about that. That's the sort of stuff that I used to do that was being really unkind to myself. Also, maybe when you get anxious, you get these bad thoughts. Maybe you pick your skin. That's something that I used to do. Maybe you bite your nails. Maybe you pull your hair out. Any way in which you're harming yourself, this is being unkind to yourself. Also, there's unkind acts that maybe aren't as obvious. So you're having thoughts that you're not good enough, and then a job comes up at work, an opportunity comes up, and you don't put yourself forward for it because instantly you shoot yourself down and believe that you can't do it. That is being incredibly unkind to yourself. You're sabotaging your chances of success. So every day, categorize the thoughts and behaviors you're having and tally up how many times am I being kind to myself and how many times am I being unkind to myself? And no doubt, if you've been in relationships with toxic people, you'll have minimal amounts of self-love, and no doubt you will be being unkind to yourself on a daily basis. So our aim here is to make sure that on a daily basis, we are being kind to ourselves for the majority of the time, if not all the time. So how are we going to do that? So we need to address that narrative in our head and we need to rewrite that narrative. We need to make sure that there's more positive thoughts coming up. And when negative thoughts do come up, we don't automatically believe those thoughts and latch onto them and let them pull us down into this self-destructive spiral. So in order to rewrite the narrative, the first thing that we're going to do, the most important thing that has absolutely changed my life, we are going to calm the body. Because when you calm the body, you calm the mind. If you've just been in a relationship with a narcissist, no doubt you're feeling traumatized. You're not feeling calm in your body or mind. I can remember when I was with my narcissistic ex, after that relationship, I was feeling erratic. I was feeling crazy. I was feeling confused. But what we want is the body to feel calm. That influences the mind. The mind is calmer. So that means less thoughts in the mind in general. It means less negative thoughts. And it means when those negative thoughts come up, because you're calm, you don't automatically jump on those thoughts straight away and believe them. You know to sit with them and that they will pass. So in this way, I say you move into the role of being the observer of your thoughts. You know you are not your thoughts. Your mind is merely a tool, and sometimes it comes up with really helpful things, and sometimes it comes up with things that are not so helpful. But all these thoughts in your head, whether they're positive or negative, they will pass by, they will come and go like the clouds in the sky. And you can be selective about the ones that you choose to act on to make sure the thoughts that you act on are the ones that are going to set you up to thrive in life. So to calm your body, every single day, I want you to choose a practice, whether that be meditation, breath work, yoga, Pilates, something that's super calming. The things that have worked for me the most are breath work and meditation. And okay, I'm going to hear you saying, Gabrielle, there's no way that I can do meditation. I can't sit still for 2 minutes. But this is the issue. This is what we need to address. I need you to be super disciplined and I need you to feel super serious about wanting to feel better and wanting to break these toxic cycles. You are going to have to do things that you can't be bothered to do, that don't come naturally to you at the start. But anything worth having in life requires hard work. But this isn't hard work. It's not asking for much. I'm asking you to try and meditate for 5 minutes. Start off with 5 minutes every day. Do that solidly every day for a month. Commit to it for a month and then build yourself up. You might find after a couple of days, oh my God, I love this. I love this feeling of peace. Like, this is what I've been missing in my life. And you start to get used to it really quickly and you build yourself up really quickly. And after a week, maybe you're doing half an hour. What I will say is every day I do 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, but minimum 20 minutes. And breath work, I do 3 rounds of 10 breaths. And for those 10 breaths, that's 4 seconds in, maybe a 4 second hold and 4 seconds out. And I do 10 breaths, usually hold my breath for a minute after those 10 breaths, then do another 10 breaths, hold my breath for a minute, one last set of 10 breaths, hold my breath for a minute, and then I'm done. It takes me 5 minutes and it has made such a difference. I feel so much more peaceful within my body and my mind is so much more peaceful. When your mind is peaceful, there's not as many thoughts coming up, you don't feel erratic. That is when the good stuff starts coming through. This is when clarity starts coming into your life. You can think clearly, and this is when your intuition starts coming through, and we're going to start speaking about that soon. So yeah, if breathwork and meditation doesn't come naturally to you, you're just going to have to force yourself to do it within this first month. And then they say after 21 days it becomes a new habit and you'll do it automatically. I've been doing meditation and breath work every morning for the last 4 months, and honestly sometimes even today I can't be asked to do it, but I do it because now I am reaping the positive benefits. And I don't want to go back to how I felt before, and the positive benefits are so good that I know I'm never going to give this up. What I will say is it'll probably take 4 weeks for you to start feeling the benefits. And some of you might be thinking, oh, 4 weeks, can't be asked with that. A lot of people, they want a quick solution straight away, but you're not going to get that. That's not how it works. So you've got to get your head around that, and you've got to retrain your mind to not be chasing these dopamine hits and these quick fixes. We've got to calm everything down and get you used to slow releasing dopamine activities like yoga, Pilates, going to the sauna. The next step that we're going to take to rewrite the narrative is to journal. You will have heard of journaling. So many successful people do journaling, and that's because it works. Again, this doesn't take much time. I'm not asking you for much. I only do one A5 page every day. That takes me 5 minutes to do. Usually I do it at quite a fast pace, but you can take your time with this, enjoy this. So for the journaling, write down positive affirmations every day. And those positive affirmations, they will go into your brain, they'll go into your subconsciousness, and they will start to rewrite that negative narrative. So those thoughts that you're having about yourself every day, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, or my life isn't working out, I'm doomed. Start writing really positive stuff. Start writing what you're grateful for. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful that I've got my family around me. I'm grateful that I've got a really good friend who supports me. I'm grateful for my job. I'm grateful for this apartment that I live in, that I'm not out on the street. I'm grateful that I've got access to water and food. Literally get back to basics. Instead of feeling so down about your life and what you don't have, for example, you don't have a partner at the minute, start being grateful for everything that you do have. Because I'm not super rich and I don't have loads of materialistic things, but honestly, practicing gratitude every day has made me realize how rich I am in other ways and how lucky I am to be in the position that I am. Start practicing gratitude and also start writing positive affirmations. So, stuff that I write on a daily basis sometimes, I write, I am beautiful, I am intelligent, I am capable, I am motivated, I am driven. I write stuff like this, and you might be cringing at this, but this stuff works. And even if you don't believe it at the start, if you don't believe it to be true, write it down anyway, because this stuff is true. And this is the thing. You have been lying to yourself. When you're writing down that stuff that you're beautiful, you're capable, you're worthy of love, you are not lying to yourself. That stuff is true. The issue is you have been lying to yourself throughout your life, saying that you're not beautiful, you're not capable, you're not worthy of love. Those are the lies. When you're doing this journaling, you're not lying to yourself. That stuff is true, but we just need you to start realizing that. And the more you write it down, the more that you do these calming exercises, and the more that you gain clarity and peace within your mind, you'll start to believe these things to be true. And you'll be like, oh my God, I was beautiful all along. I was capable and intelligent and worthy of love. I've always been worthy of love. But at the minute, it's just that you've got into some bad patterns, bad cycles of thinking and how you treat yourself. But we're going to rewire that. We're going to sort that out. So now that we've started building up your self-love, step number 2 is to start building your confidence. And this includes exposure therapy. So putting yourself forward in situations that maybe make you scared, make you fearful, but you're putting yourself forward because we believe that you are worthy of those opportunities. You've only just started building up your self-love, so maybe you're not feeling super confident just yet. But we don't wait to feel 100% happy. We don't wait to feel 100% confident before we start taking action. Start taking action today. Don't delay it. Don't wait until you're feeling 100%, because we're never going to be feeling 100%. So start doing these things today. So what would this look like? What situations are we going to put you in to start building your confidence? So maybe it's a promotion at work, or it's applying for a job. Maybe it's going on a date with someone. Maybe it's starting the gym, starting a new hobby, or signing up to get a new qualification. Signing yourself up to these things is an incredibly kind act towards yourself, and you deserve it. And to turn down that date, to turn down that job opportunity, to not go to the gym because you don't feel confident enough, that is being unkind to yourself, and you're getting in your own way and creating a boundary to your happiness. You've just got to take a leap of faith. And you know what? If you fail, so what? You've got to get used to failing. You've got to get used to that feeling so that it becomes normal. Anyone in life who's successful, they've failed multiple times, and yet it feels uncomfortable to be rejected, to not be successful at something. But the more you practice, the more you try, it is going to become second nature. And each time maybe you fail, you get knocked back. Reflect on that experience. How did it go? What did you do well? What did you not do well? What can you improve? And this is all going to add to your feeling of strength and confidence within yourself. With each situation, with each failure, you're going to become a lot wiser and a lot more self-assured. But if you stay in your comfort zone, in this little box that you've been keeping yourself in all these years, you're not going to grow. Pushing yourself into these situations out of your comfort zone is essential for growth. And that is what life's about. It's about developing ourselves and growing ourselves. Along the way, when you're pushing yourself into these situations, keep doing your journaling, keep reflecting on your thoughts, keep reflecting on your actions. How were you kind with yourself today? In what ways were you unkind with yourself? So keep reflecting and keep that journal up. Also, along the way, if you do put yourself in a situation, say that you go for a date, but the date doesn't go very well. Maybe you were nervous, there was just not much of a connection there. You feel deflated afterwards. Maybe you feel a bit down, you feel a bit anxious. Use the calming techniques and soothe yourself. So, for example, in the past, when I didn't have much self-love, when I was struggling with anxiety and depression. If something didn't go right and if I had anxious thoughts, I would revert to punishing myself and harming myself. So I would pick my skin. I had a skin picking disorder, so I'd go in the mirror and pick my skin, or I'd allow myself to ruminate on those thoughts all evening and just feel absolutely terrible and depressed. Now I don't do that. When I'm feeling a bit dejected, that is the time that I am extra kind to myself, and I will soothe myself with breath work, meditation, journaling, or maybe I'll just distract myself by making a healthy meal for myself and nourishing myself, doing some reading, having a call with one of my family members. You want to be your own best friend. That's not a time to kick yourself when you're down. When it comes to building your confidence, maybe set yourself a goal that every 2 weeks, you're going to do something that scares you. You're going to push yourself out your comfort zone, or maybe it's once a month. So plan for the year. In April, maybe you're going to apply for a new job if that's something that you want to do. In May, maybe you're going to sign up for the gym. In June, maybe you're going to start a new hobby. And then later on in the year, maybe once you've built your confidence and you've built up your self-love, maybe that's when you'll feel ready to go on a date with someone and start dating again. What I would say is, if you've been in a toxic relationship, you've been with a narcissist, maybe don't go on a date straight away. I think it's important to concentrate on yourself, focus on yourself as a project and your self-love, and build that up, build your confidence, get that strength within you before you start dating again. Because otherwise, if you've not built up your confidence, if you've not got this self-love, you will fall into the same trap again. Step number 3, you've built up your confidence, you've built up your self-love. So now we need to understand how to attract a healthy relationship. So get your pen and paper out again. So what we're going to do is we're going to write down all the qualities we want to see in our future partner. So that should include stuff like empathy, it should include loyalty, it should include honesty, it should include someone who you can just be completely comfortable with, you can just be your absolute complete self, someone who's really good at communicating and can speak about their feelings and express their feelings. And again, someone who makes you feel peaceful in their presence. You feel relaxed, you feel joyous, you're laughing, you're happy. That is what we want. So write down the qualities, but also imagine that you're with this person now, and maybe write down on a day-to-day basis like how you're feeling with this person. So I'm waking up in the morning, we're making breakfast together, we're laughing. Then maybe we go to the gym together, we're working out together. We go for a cute coffee together. Maybe we're working on some little side hustle together in the day, or we're chilling and we're watching TV, we're watching a television series, we're cooking together. I've got an issue and he's supporting me with it. He's so kind, he's so empathetic. I can go to him for anything. I can speak about anything with him, and he's always so calm and patient with me. Start writing about this life that you are going to make happen. And honestly, I have done this and it works. Start writing about this life and this person that you're going to meet very soon. This is what's called manifestation. You start feeding your mind and your subconscious. Your mind can't determine what's real and not. So your mind feels like this is already happening. Start putting that energy out there, and the things that you write about that you're envisioning every single day, you start drawing those things towards you. And because you're thinking about these things every day and you're envisioning it, you start taking actions in that direction to make that thing actually happen. One thing I will say here, make sure you're focusing on qualities that actually matter and that you're not being shallow. For example, I didn't think I was a shallow person, but one of the key things that I wanted my partner to have is that I wanted them to be on a higher salary than me. Basically, years ago, I just wasn't happy with my life. I wasn't happy with where I was going in my career. And I felt like I always wanted someone to earn a higher salary so they could bail me out of my life that I wasn't happy with, because I was most likely not going to be successful in life. So that was one of my key priorities, going after someone who was on a higher salary than me, that was quite well off. Then I came across my current partner, and he was on a lower salary than me, but he showed me buckets full of love and empathy and affection, which is everything I'd ever been wanting. He just absolutely adored me, and he was just so excited to be with me and like initiate the next date. But yeah, he wasn't on a higher salary than me, so I had to have a word with myself. Was I seriously going to get rid of this guy who was showing me absolute love and compassion and just such a genuine, honest soul? Was I going to get rid of him because he wasn't on a higher salary than me? No, I wasn't. So, yeah, make sure that you're not being shallow. Go for the things that really matter. Having a kind partner really matters. Just think, this is the guy that's going to be with you potentially when you're giving birth. Who do you want by your side when you're giving birth? He's going to be going through the hardest times with you in your life. This is a guy that's going to comfort you maybe when you've had a parent or a friend pass away. He's going to be there for you. This is going to be the guy, if you ever got seriously ill, he's going to be looking after you. So think of those situations. I know it sounds quite deep, but who do you want to be next to you in that situation? You want someone who's going to be really empathetic, who absolutely adores you and would do anything for you, and who shows kindness. That should take priority over someone who has got loads of money, they've got a really cool car, they wear really cool designer clothes, and they've got a mortgage and their own house. Those things that I've just described, kindness, empathy, loyalty, that needs to take priority before any of those superficial things. So number 2, when it comes to how to attract a healthy partner, we need to set boundaries. So get your pen and paper out again. There is something magical about putting pen to paper. It is something I have started implementing a lot in recent years. I write so much stuff down in my notebook. And again, it's the manifestation thing. It's just writing each and every letter. There's just something about it. So yeah, write this stuff down. And I would recommend pen and paper as opposed to writing it on your laptop. So we are going to write down our boundaries. How do we expect someone to treat us? So, for example, I expect not to be lied to. I expect absolute honesty. I expect someone to listen to me, to not ignore me. And when I bring up something that I'm not happy with, when I express my feelings, I expect to be heard. I expect not to be punished for bringing up my thoughts and feelings. I expect not to be shouted at. I expect not to be put down and criticized and made to feel that I am not worthy. So write a list of all the ways you expect to be treated by your partner. Then, when you've built up your confidence, you've built up your self-love, you start dating again, you have got to enforce these boundaries. And what does that look like? So, when someone disrespects you, say they criticize you or they lie to you, you have got to have the confidence to bring up, I'm not happy with the way that you just treated me. And then this is critical. How does that person react? Do they show remorse? Are they really sorry? Do they empathize with you? Or do they shut you down? Do they tell you to shut up? Do they just ignore you? They don't listen to you. Maybe they give you the silent treatment. Maybe they flip it round on you and say, you're the problem, you're too sensitive, and just completely dismiss you. If they do the latter, if they dismiss you and they don't listen to you, you need to stay strong to those boundaries and enforce them and cut off that relationship, because that person, number 1, they have zero respect for you and your boundaries. And number 2, they can't meet your needs. Your needs include being treated with kindness and love. that person isn't showing that. They're being unkind with you. They don't have empathy. So you need to cut that relationship off, because that is a serious red flag. This is how it all starts out with the toxic people and the narcissists. That's exactly how it starts out. And you need to have the strength to be like, you know what? I deserve better than this. I want better than this. Sorry, I'm cutting this off, and I'm going to wait for a man who treats me in the way that I deserve. Obviously, people can make mistakes and sometimes people act out. So if they apologize and if they show remorse and empathize with your situation, and they let you speak about your feelings and how you felt heard, and you come together and discuss it and come up with a solution, if they react like that and they act calmly and they don't shout, maybe give them one more chance. But if they do the same again, you need to cut off the relationship again, because it's not working. They're not able to treat you in the way that you deserve and give you what you need. And when you cut these toxic people off, once again, you are sending that energy out there. You are sending that vibration out there. And I know this sounds woo woo, but it's the truth. You are making a statement to the world: I deserve better. I want more from a relationship. These are the basic things that should be happening, and I deserve to be treated with kindness, and I deserve to be heard and respected. An example that I'll give from my own love life: after I hit my rock bottom at 30 and I started healing myself, I started to date a few guys, and they just weren't up to scratch. They were either not very interested in me, like they barely messaged me, they didn't really initiate dates, they just didn't seem excited about me, or they disrespected me in some way. And I cut off those relationships really early on. And that was something completely new for me, because in the past, because I didn't have hardly any self love, I would cling on to anyone I could find just to have that attention, just to have that casual relationship and get some affection off them. Even though it was crumbs and it was rubbish, I'd still hold on to them to the bitter end. And I didn't. I cut off the relationship. I did that a few times. And guess what? Not long after I repeatedly did that, over a few months, that's when the love of my life came into my life. After I'd sent that message out to the world that, do you know what? This is rubbish. This person is just not very interested in me, and I deserve more. I want more than this. This is boring. Like, I don't want someone who's not very excited about me. This isn't how it's meant to be. Like, there's something else out there for me that is 10 times better than this. And that walked into my life after I sent that message out, and I stood strong within myself and wasn't desperate. So the fourth and final stage is learning to trust yourself and to trust again in a partner. This is something I thought I'd never be able to do again, but you know what? It's actually really easy, because as I said previously, people show you their true colors very early on. But the issue is, are you going to believe what that person is showing you and believe it to be true? Or are you going to put on your rose tinted glasses and tell yourself a different story and put your head in the sand? I can remember as well, I used to say, I can't trust myself. I used to say that to myself a lot. And number one, you need to stop saying that. Because like I said, the thoughts that we have, what we choose to believe, if you're saying to yourself every day, I can't trust myself, we need to stop with that. But when it comes to learning to trust ourselves and not living in this state of fear, we need to tune into our intuition, because my intuition now is my superpower. It's my guiding light. And whenever I tune into my intuition and do what it tells me, it always keeps me safe. It always keeps me on the right path. So how do we tune into this superpower that we've all got? Well, number one, it's going to start coming naturally with the calming exercises. So, with you doing your meditation every day, your breath work, your journaling, as your body starts to calm and simultaneously it calms your mind, you'll have less thoughts in your head and there'll be space between your thoughts. And other things will start coming through. You'll have clarity to think about other things, and your intuition will start coming through more. Ideas and creativity will start coming through more. That's what I've experienced when I was in these relationships with narcissists. When I had really bad mental health, I was just constantly erratic and pulled from pillar to post by my horrible self-deprecating mind. There was no space for anything else to come through, any goodness to come through. But now I have peace in my mind. I have space. I have creative thoughts, a flow of creativity coming through. I have ideas. I have positive thoughts, more positive thoughts coming through. But yeah, also my intuition is coming through. So yeah, to tap into your intuition, the meditation and the breath work is crucial. These practices are spiritual, and they allow you to connect deeply with your body, mind, and your soul, and your intuition will start flowing through. Your intuition it can be a thought. So sometimes I hear it, it speaks to me, but also it's a feeling. It's a feeling within my gut, but it's a peaceful, strong, and solid feeling. Even when it's warning me about something, it's this strong and peaceful feeling. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky to describe, but it's just that steady, strong voice that always knows the right way forward. But in the past, even when I was in these relationships, to be honest, my intuition was still coming through, not as strongly as it does now, but it was still telling me, Gabrielle, this relationship isn't right. This person, I think they're going to deceive you. They're capable of doing really bad things. They've not got empathy. It was telling me things, but I was ignoring it. When you ignore your intuition, your body isn't in alignment, your soul isn't settled, you're just conflicted within yourself. So the more you start to do the calming exercises, the more you start to do the journaling, you will develop this strong bond with your body, mind, and soul. And your intuition will start coming through more and more. And listen to it, do what it says, and you'll soon realize, oh my God, when I do what my intuition tells me to do, everything works out fine. When it comes to trusting yourself and trusting a person, and especially when it comes to dating, the initial first few dates, leaning on your intuition, relying on your intuition is so, so valuable and so critical. So when you're around someone on those first few dates, what thoughts are coming into your head? How are you feeling? Your body as well. Use your body, because your body as well as your guiding compass. When you're on that day, are you feeling nervous? And I know initially on the first day, the first couple of days, you might be feeling nervous. But if you're like 6 times into seeing someone, 10 times into seeing someone, and you've got an uneasy feeling in your stomach, and there's just something that you can't put your finger on, there's something not quite right, and maybe you get like headaches when you're with them, or you just don't feel like you can be yourself, listen to that, because that's not you being anxious, that's not you being paranoid, that is your intuition telling you something. And when I look back, when I had these feelings around guys that I was dating, negative feelings, I ignored it because I was like, you know what, I'm an anxious person. And to be honest, if I felt like something was off, I just didn't want to believe it, because I just got with this person. I didn't want to let them go. I didn't want to go back to the drawing board. But listen, please listen to that feeling, your body, your intuition, the thoughts that you're having. After a day, go home, get your journal out, write down how you're feeling. Then write down the next day how you're feeling as well and compare it. But there is nothing for you to be fearful of. These people are not master manipulators. They give themselves away straight away, even on a first date. Sometimes these people, they're just so blatantly themselves. They don't think, a narcissist, they don't realize that anything's wrong with them. They think you're the problem. So they just go about their day demonstrating these toxic behaviors so freely. So honestly, please do not be scared that you're going to be fooled, because you're not. Now, when I meet people, I instinctively know who's a genuine person and who's deceitful and who's toxic. And to be honest, when I look back, I knew it. I knew this years ago, but I just didn't harness that power. I just didn't have the self-love, the confidence, the boundaries. But yeah, you can easily pick up on these toxic people. So use that power of your intuition. So guys, I'm going to conclude this video here. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and please subscribe to my channel. I hope you found those 4 steps really useful. It does require a bit of effort, a bit of discipline, but honestly, it is not much to ask. Doing a bit of journaling every day, reflecting on your thoughts every day, doing 20 minutes of calming exercises, that is not much to fit into your schedule. And like I said before, you might be thinking, oh, what's that going to do? It's not going to work. Let me tell you, these simple things that people can't be bothered to do, they work. They have worked for me. They have completely transformed my life. I felt completely hopeless. My love life was horrendous, and I have completely turned it around. These things that I've spoken about, those 4 steps, if you follow those 4 steps, I promise you are going to find a healthy relationship. One thing I will say, final words of advice, if you've just been in a narcissistic, toxic relationship, don't let that person harden your heart. Keep your heart open. You can still keep your heart open and be open to love. Just implement the boundaries and harness the power of your intuition, build up your self-love so your heart doesn't get stamped on again. Also, what's critical within this process is being completely honest with yourself. And that includes reflecting on yourself and how you are at fault. We can't blame these toxic men for the situation that we're in. We've got to look at ourselves and we've got to put our egos aside and admit where we're at fault. Another point, this is the time to concentrate on you. Focus on you. What I noticed is when I was in these narcissistic relationships, I completely abandoned myself. I completely neglected myself, and my focus was on the other person. My focus was on fixing the narcissist, but I was completely neglecting myself, and I'd always neglected myself throughout my life. But now is the time to seriously focus on yourself, focus on building up your confidence. You are your own little project. Focus on you for once and not other people. You've got to put yourself first. Do not give up hope. I probably had a smidgen of hope left, but I always kept that last bit of hope. With the knowledge and the know-how, what I've explained in this video, you can definitely find a partner who's going to give you the love that you deserve. You can find a long-term healthy relationship. I promise you, it is possible. No matter what you've been through, anything is possible, and you have the power within your hands to turn your life around and to completely break through these toxic cycles in your love life. Okay, everyone, I'll see you next time.